All right, so shark season technically is supposed to or was supposed to get underway in.
Yeah, I was supposed to be in Columbus, Georgia this weekend, but that's not happening. Obviously, we are kind of on a hold. Our president and our league has announced that we will have a season, but just like a lot of businesses, we have to wait until that's possible. And right now, it's not.
So I guess yesterday, the governor mentioned that he sees a need for professional sports, and even went as far as to say professional sports are considered essential workers right now. No leagues ready to hit the field or court or anything just yet, but does that kind of give hope that the shark season might not have to be delayed very long?
Right. So it's definitely a step in the right direction for our timeline of things that need to happen for us to launch our season by our time frame. We're hoping to, kick off in June, but that's going to be difficult. But one of the things that would need to happen is for us to be able to work efficiently back in our offices, our team to be able to do practices, our players to be able to interact and actually work directly with our coaches. And by having sports as an essential business, we're able to do that. We're able to operate. We all like to think we can all work from home and do 100% of our jobs from home, and that's just not the case with a lot of positions, especially with professional sports teams. I even struggle with it with multimedia, where I had to do a project today with video highlights, and of course there were highlights from years ago, and I'm like, oh darn it, that hard drive's back at the office from 2011. So it's just some things can just be more difficult, and even just working with your coworkers. Zoom and things like this are great for or for interacting and collaborating, but there's nothing like working right next to your coworker to get something done. It definitely will help us. And I think no matter what, even if the Sharks are able to operate, we have 7 teams in the NAL. Only 2 of them are in Florida, us and Orlando. And we have teams all across the East Coast, even in New Jersey. So although it is a great thing that the governor did that for Florida, it's a stepping stone. It's not a major milestone for our league because we have so many other states involved. So we want to be able to get all of our arenas back open, all of our fans to be able to enjoy our games in order for us to successfully kick off our season. That's pretty much our goal.
Hey, Sharks have always had have a pretty dedicated fan base. I mean, the Shark Tank gets pretty packed. One of the talks for a lot of things with sports coming back would be possibly playing games without fans. How would that change things? I mean, obviously it changes the game experience. I mean, it changed things for players, but is that something that the NAL is kind of looking at and thinking about doing?
So I think that's a great thing for Major League Baseball. I think that's a great thing for WWE and platforms with major TV deals and things like that, where people just want to see sports and get people back into sort of some normality of life and being able to watch games again. But from our perspective as a league and our team, particularly the Jacksonville Sharks, our president's already told our fans, our season ticket holders, and announced to the public, we won't be playing any games until our fans are allowed back in the building.
Like it. I actually, this might have been 2 weeks ago when social distancing was still, I guess, in its infancy. I was out at one of the gyms following some of the high school players that were working out, and I ran into some of the Sharks players there, and I was like, "Oh yeah, their season is right around the corner." I was like, "Okay, and they were still in town
Yeah,
working out." So this, I mean, puts them in a position of trying to stay in shape, just like every other athlete, trying to figure out where you can go work out, where you can't. As
it's
I
like being
mean,
in limbo. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. Our players are doing a great job by personally working from home, working out from home as we staff work from home because we have to stay sharp. That's one of the biggest things, like I was discussing earlier with our staff doing webinars, to just stay smart and to try to keep on our game and try to see what other teams are doing in the sports world to enhance their game day. Our players are trying to enhance their skills the best they can from home. Obviously, it's not ideal, but that's where we are right now. The best we can do is keep working. We don't want to slouch and lounge around if we can't help it. I know the weather right now is terrible, but I personally am trying to get out and run every day and jog and just try to stay sane. And I know our players are doing that exact same thing. And so is our coaching staff too. They're trying to find any way. This actually hit us like right before our training camp was supposed to start. It's unbelievable. All of our players, not all of our players are from Jacksonville. A lot of them come from out of town, from all over California, Maryland. Our coaches from Oregon. So a lot of these guys all came into town, and we had such a great timeline in place to get everything ready. And just like that, it's like that's what it takes with a pandemic. Everything just got put on hold. And then what we thought would be a 2-week wait or 3-week, 30-day wait turned into longer and longer. So what we're doing as the Sharks is we're not going to cry about it. We're going to adapt, and we're just going to stay strong, survive, keep working hard in any way we can control. We're going to control and work forward. We're not going to work backwards.
Yeah, and that's all you can do is try and adapt the best, because no one's prepared for this. Like you said, everyone thought it would be like a 2-week wait, and
Yep.
now the window's constantly changing as they keep talking about the curve. And it's like, when I've always looked at sports, and it's like, well, things might stop, things might change, sports will be there.
Yeah.
Most people, we've never seen anything like this.
Not in our lifetime. No, not at all. And like going back to, I think it is important that some sports come back, even if it's just on TV. One thing that I do remember that was a national world tragedy was 9/11 with the World Trade Centers and all the and all the things that happened on that day. But one of the first things that the president did was try to get Major League Baseball back as soon as possible. And I think that speaks volumes. I learned from history, and I think history repeats itself. And I think that what the governor is doing is a little similar to that. I know a pandemic is completely different from an accident like that happened, or a tragedy that happened like that. But it was something that affected us. It stopped our everyday life for at least a day. And for a lot of people for years, it affected the entire city of New York and how we live our lives and how we travel. So with that said, to see, President Bush at that time throw out the first pitch at Yankee Stadium when he got heavily criticized for that going into it, and then actually having that game at Yankee Stadium and seeing everyone react so positively after it, it was like just a great deep breath of fresh air for people to just say, wow, maybe life will return to normal. And for the Sharks, what we're trying to do is we're advocates of the community first. We are supporting our fans, and safety is our number one concern. So regardless of when our season starts, whether it's tomorrow or July or June, we're going to always keep those values first. We're going to make sure that our fans are safe. And any way we can help promote that, we're going to do everything we can. And any way we can keep our community and help our community, what can we do to help our community given the circumstances we're in with the restrictions we're in? So we're hoping that one of the reasons the governor did this is to allow sports teams to make more of an impact in the community and to help people, because we are available. So I think it's a great decision, and we're gonna adapt, and we're gonna roll with it, and we're just gonna hope we keep getting more positive news. That's all we can do.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, and I love you made the connection to like Yankee Stadium after 9/11. I'm from New Orleans, so like when the Saints got back into the Superdome after Katrina, that was like, okay, life can go back to normal. I mean, that was like a year later for them, but still that's like a moment for people that okay, maybe things can get back to normal, and sports has always provided that hope or that beacon of normalcy for a lot of people. So getting some sports back definitely would be a sigh of relief. Rather, watching reruns are nice, but
one of the things I realized when I started off in sports and when I was working with the New York Jets, is that we kind of take our jobs for granted sometimes, and we just think it's just another job. But when you work for sports teams, people in your community, they look up to you even in times like these. If they see you panicking or they see you stressed or whatever, they start to panic and they start to stress. I think sports is a great way to get people's minds off of a lot of negative things in the world, not just pandemics, but all the things that are going on. And so when people see the normality from sports figures and professionals in sports, even if it's an athlete to a ticket salesperson, when they see that you believe that things are going to get better, they believe things will get better. And I think a lot of people need that right now because it is tough times.
That's agreed. That is 100% agreed. All right, Stephen, I think that's all I got for you, man.
No problem.
I appreciate everything. Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, you take it easy.